So, can you talk about the emotions of finding out you're going to be in the Hall of Fame
Well, I mean,
or the show?
yeah. I mean, it's really gratifying, and it was surprising, and we're just four guys who sit around talking hoop and trying to educate fans and trying to entertain fans and doing our best every night we're on there to do that. And look, when they're paying you to watch hoop, it's not like you're really working. I mean, it's a job and it has work in it, but it's one of those get-to jobs, not a got-to job. We get to do that. And speaking for Kenny and Chuck and Shaq, we're all very humbled and honored to have this happen.
So do you have a favorite moment from the show over the years, or one of the favorite
There are
moments?
so many of them. I mean, when we locked Charles out of the studio because he didn't have a ring, and we renamed the studio the Champions Club, and we sprung that on him on live TV, and you're playing a trick on the Chuckster, But every night things happen, and a lot of times it's so organic. It's things you talk about in the production meeting. Those aren't the things people talk about. It's something else that just happens in the show, and we kind of ride that the rest of the night. So I think that's been the beauty of the show from our perspective, is that it's unpredictable and it's spontaneous, and it's just a bunch of guys shooting from the hip, and somehow it's worked for a long time.
So what does it mean to be in the Hall of Fame, same Hall of Fame class as Kobe, KG, and those guys?
I mean, it's obvious. It's wonderful to get the recognition, but those guys are on another level, and it was really, as we sat here today, and to hear Matt, describe Kobe as the final nominee, it just kind of brought it back. So it's a different kind of All-Star Weekend, obviously, after the loss of David and Kobe. But man, those memories, we've always got those, and we'll always treasure them.
So, being on the show, why do you feel it's so important to talk about everything and not just basketball?
I think it just gives you a little freedom, and again, I think a lot of that is because when Charles joined our crew, he didn't change for a second the person he was. He was always the most quotable guy in the league when he played, and he brought that to TV. So he kind of made it okay for us to, like, if it was a 30-point game and he'd rather talk about something else, we were like, yeah, why not? And then it became kind of it became expected that if something happened in the world that everybody was talking about, hey, we'll talk about it too. And it gives you a lot of freedom, and it gives you, it kind of gives you a voice. And I think that's been one of those things that we've seen it happen, and we've seen other folks say, well, geez, we need a Charles Barkley. No, we need a Shaq. We need a Kenny. And I think that in itself can be like the sincerest form of flattery.
So, last question: which one of the three guys is your favorite?
Which of the three is my favorite? Yes. You probably asked me the same thing about my